America may be able to help. Ready to take back your breath? Ask your doctor about Breztri.
This is a case that's got everybody holding their breath.
An explosion pushed out the front of the building.
Tonight, secrets will be revealed.
You didn't know.
We didn't know.
They were dealing with a monster.
2020 on ABC and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Thanks, everybody, for showing up here. And those of you at home for watching, have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy The View.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Hello, everyone. Governor Janet Mills has announced suspending her campaign for U.S. Senate. We'll hear what her opponent, Graham Plattner, had to say coming up. Plus, RSU 22 is working to solidify the 2027 financial budget, and Senator Angus King questioned Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth about finances for future defense. Good afternoon, I'm Janessa Bishop, filling in for Susan Farley today. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, happy Friday afternoon. Some parts of the region still under a small craft advisory, and it's right about in here. And that is up until 8 p.m. this evening. Still some high surf occurring in this part of the coast. So let's get into things right now. The last of the area low pressure is tracking off towards the north and east. The rain showers tapering off, and we'll be under a partly cloudy sky for the rest of the day. So let's zoom things out. This is all courtesy of this area of low pressure that brought the rain to the region. So we're calming down now, which is great news. And overall, the rest of the day will be nice as temperatures warm up. Futurecast still bringing some clouds to the region. So again, a partly cloudy sky. We're clearing out for a while overnight, but by tomorrow, here we are with more rainfall on the way, some snow as we head further off towards the northern parts of the state. So some gusty winds for today, reaching up to about 15 to 20 miles per hour. It does calm down overnight, but as we head towards tomorrow, calm to start though, but still some winds reaching up to about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So overall today, partly cloudy and breezy, low 60s for the high. That'll be nice. Northwest wind at about 20 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear for most of the night, low 30s for the low, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Hourly forecast moving forward. Overall, a partly to mostly cloudy sky with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. Well, first, Maine's congressional races are slated to be some of, if not the most watched elections in the nation. And yesterday, a big shakeup in Maine politics as Governor Janet Mills announced she's suspending her U.S. Senate campaign. Our Doug Banks has those details and the reactions to the surprising announcement.
Governor Janet Mills made the decision to suspend her U.S. Senate campaign public just before 9 Thursday morning, citing a lack of financial resources. She said in part, quote, "While I have the drive and passion, commitment and experience, and above all else the fight to continue on, I very simply do not have the one thing that political campaigns unfortunately require today, the financial resources. That is why I have made the incredibly difficult decision to suspend my campaign for the United States Senate," end quote. It's a move that caused a ripple effect through Maine's political landscape on Thursday, especially since we're just weeks away from the Democratic primary. First, Senator Susan Collins said, quote, "I am sure this was a difficult decision for Governor Mills, and I thank her for her decades of service to the people of Maine," end quote. Next, one of her direct opponents on the Democratic ticket, Graham Plattner. A press conference Thursday morning at the Governor Hill Mansion in Augusta brought lawmakers from across Maine to publicly endorse his campaign. It was held only a couple hours after Mills' campaign suspension was made public. Here's what he had to say about the current governor.
Governor Mills has dedicated her career to this beautiful state. We're all eternally grateful for her service to the state of Maine as governor and her lifelong career serving Mainers as Attorney General, as District Attorney, and in the legislature. We both got into this race because we knew how critical it is to defeat Susan Collins. And her decision today reflects a commitment to that project. I look forward to working closely with her between now and November to do just that, to defeat Susan Collins and turn this seat blue again.
Are you hoping to get Governor Mills' endorsement, and what would that mean for you?
I reached out to the governor this morning, giving her my thanks for her decades of service to this state. I'm very much looking forward to working with her closely as we move forward.
Next, two of Maine's political parties issued statements about Mills' campaign. Maine Democratic Party Executive Director Devon Murphy Anderson made the following statement, saying in part, "The Maine Democratic Party is neutral in primaries and will be proud to support our Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate, along with our nominees in races up and down the ballot," end quote. Meanwhile, the Maine Republican Party voicing strong opposition to Plattner, saying in part, "Mainers can't afford to send a radical, out-of-control extremist like Plattner to D.C., but that's exactly whom Maine Democrats have on their slate this election," end quote. We also spoke with political expert and University of Maine Political Science Chair Mark Brewer about Mills' decision to suspend her campaign. While the announcement came as a surprise, he says there have been indications over the past few weeks suggesting this might happen. He highlighted her lack of on-air presence over the last few weeks, the lack of donations coming in from outside groups, and Mills consistently trailing in the polls.
I think it's probably a combination of the lack of resources, but also probably a realization on her part that, she just didn't see a path to victory anymore.
A common question in politics when someone suspends their campaign is who will they endorse? This is a statement sent to us by a spokesperson for Janet Mills on Thursday. It reads, quote, "Governor Mills has never voted for Susan Collins, and she will not do so in this election either. As Maine's governor, she will continue to support Democratic candidates across Maine, and she will continue to hear and watch how Graham Plattner works to earn the support of Maine voters, just as she will keep a close eye on Maine's congressional and gubernatorial primaries as well." In studio, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, school districts all over the state are working to solidify their fiscal year 2027 budgets, and RSU 22 is no different. However, the district is facing multiple challenges, causing a tight financial squeeze that they say is affecting most stakeholders. Our Callie Warren explains.
And we're just trying to get what we can for our students with the understanding that we're trying to also help everyone else within the communities and not increase that too much for them, because we understand they're going through some hard times as well.
Budgeting is a balancing act for the RSU 22 school board, but the challenges that they're facing are felt across the state. Between rising costs, state mandates, and attempting to keep the taxpayer burden low, those in the district are trying to piece together a complicated puzzle.
Everyone's costs are going up, and we're just trying to do our best. So, yes, we're all in that situation together.
Superintendent Raymond says that included in the proposed $40.8 million budget is a 30% increase for propane and a 30% increase for gas and transportation costs due to rising oil prices. Additionally, the district must allocate $50,000 to prepare for the state-mandated personal devices ban in case they need to provide school-issued computers to students currently using personal laptops. They also have to allocate for a state-mandated teacher salary increase.
Considering the economy right now and considering what local communities are going through, I think our administration did a really nice job with preparing this budget.
The district has also had to cut positions due to lower enrollment numbers, an issue communities have seen across the state.
Well, we've had a significant decline in enrollment over the years, and so we're reducing some employees.
More budget meetings for the district are on the horizon. Visit rsu22.us to learn more. In Hamden, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
On Thursday, Senator Angus King questioned Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff J. Daniel Kane. King pressed for answers during the annual hearing on the Department of Defense budget request for fiscal year 2027 and future years' defense program. The hearing focused largely on the war in Iran. However, Senator King, who is a senior member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, questioned the way the $1.5 trillion budget was constructed. King went back and forth with Hegseth over his concerns about decreased efforts to provide funding for Ukraine.
I think the American people should understand that we've stepped back, in fact, stepped back to the point of abandoning.
This is a war that never would have happened under President Trump, and he supports ending it through a deal, and he's pursued that.
So far, it hasn't happened.
As King pressed the issue, Hegseth held firmly to his argument that other European countries should be stepping up and shouldering the burden of funding Ukraine. Well, a Waterville man has been sentenced to 35 years in prison for murdering his roommate. Thomas Lowry was arrested in 2024 for the stabbing death of Charles Bello. 2 months ago, Lowry entered an Alford guilty plea, which then allowed him to maintain his innocence while also acknowledging that the state had enough evidence to convict him. Lowry must also pay more than a $4,000 fine in restitution as part of that sentence. A teenager charged in connection with the murder of a female paddleboarder last summer has been found competent to stand trial. According to the Midcoast Villager, 18-year-old Devin Young was found competent to stand trial by a state judge, making it more likely he'll be tried as an adult for the murder of Sunshine Sonny Stewart last year in Union. The details of the findings in the judge's ruling are under seal at this time, as are many of the records in this case, since Young was only 17 at the time of Stewart's murder. The Villager's report says that the next step will be a hearing to determine whether the case is, in fact, transferred to adult court. If that happens, the case is then presented to a grand jury for possible indictment. Should all of that occur, a trial would then be scheduled. The family of a woman killed in a Skowhegan house fire this week is asking for the public's help as they try to pick up the pieces amidst their grief. The granddaughter of the woman killed in the fire has created a GoFundMe page. According to that page, the family was already dealing with grief due to the loss of her mother's husband just 10 months prior to the fire. Now they are dealing with even more unthinkable loss with the death of the grandmother and their beloved family dog, who also died in the fire. The granddaughter says her mother lives on a fixed income and they need help with motel fees, finding stable housing, food, clothing, and other essentials. They also need help paying for funeral services. She says any donation, no matter how small, is welcomed. We have a link to that on our website at foxbangor.com. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, we'll take a look at gas prices across the nation. Don't go away.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
I'm Barry Higgins from Maple Lane Farm. We have our own beef herd here. We're on about 800 head, and it's raised right here on the farm. And we go direct to the consumer. No middleman, all natural, good old-fashioned Maine beef. Our quality is unbeatable. We have specials on Facebook every week. We guarantee our product 100%, whether it be beef, pork, or chicken. And we have a small selection of lamb also.
Maple Lane Farm, a candy store for a carnivore.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The White House and Congress are now haggling over the meaning of the word combat as President Trump tries to sidestep congressional approval for ongoing military operations in Iran. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more from Dubai.
Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that.
President Trump still predicts the Iran conflict will end with diplomacy. But Friday marks 60 days since the first airstrikes. That's the deadline for the administration to withdraw or ask Congress for approval to continue military operations. But now the White House says the conflict has already been, quote, terminated because of the ceasefire in place while talks continue.
They want to make a deal badly. And we have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are.
Democrats on Capitol Hill aren't buying that claim, pointing out Iran is maintaining its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, while U.S. forces tighten their blockade on Iranian ports. Lawmakers grilled Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth about that issue on Thursday.
We can try and tell the American people that it's going great and we're killing it, but until the Strait of Hormuz is open, I don't think we can credibly say that with any seriousness.
The biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless naysayers and defeatist words of congressional Democrats.
It comes as the president is reportedly moving closer to resuming airstrikes against Iran if talks remain stalled. Meanwhile, oil prices continue climbing, and the UN is warning it could create a humanitarian crisis on a global scale.
And we confront the specter of a global recession with dramatic impacts on people, on the economy, and on political and social stability.
The White House says it considered the conflict suspended back on April 7th. That's the day the ceasefire went into effect. In Dubai, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
With the Strait of Hormuz still at a virtual standstill, gas prices continue to spike, and overnight they've climbed even higher. ABC's Armando Garcia has more on what we can expect when we go to the pump.
Overnight, gas prices soaring across the country.
I've never paid this much for gas in my entire life.
In the past 24 hours, gas prices spiking another 11 cents, bringing the national average to $4.41 for a regular gallon, up almost $1.50 since the start of the war in Iran. In California, gas averaging just over $6 a gallon.
It's kind of shocking at this point how much we're paying for this.
Diesel also nearing all-time highs, putting pressure on the nation's shipping, farming, and manufacturing industries, and translating into higher prices at the checkout counter. Jessica Woods co-owns a grocery store in Washington, D.C., and says she's forced to raise prices because fuel surcharges on food deliveries cost more.
Ultimately, if we're going to keep the lights on, we do have to charge as much as we pay.
It's just math.
Yeah, exactly.
Moody's Analytics saying the average household will pay $1,300 extra in gas and diesel over a year if oil stays at the current levels. An ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll finding 44% of Americans say they've had to cut back on driving because of higher gas prices.
If the Strait of Hormuz remains at a virtual standstill past Memorial Day, Gas Buddy expects prices could surpass the all-time high of $5 a gallon. Armando Garcia, ABC News, New York.
Meanwhile, a recent Supreme Court ruling is now paving the way for national gerrymandering. It's also forcing major changes to Louisiana's upcoming House primaries. Fox News correspondent Dana Marie McNichol has more.
After the Supreme Court struck down Louisiana's current district lines, the state is postponing its U.S. House primaries this month to redraw congressional maps. The races will still be on ballots, but any votes in those elections won't count.
They've determined that the last map that was drawn for Louisiana was done unconstitutionally, and we've been saying that consistently from the beginning.
The state's Republican leaders said they plan to pass new voting districts by the end of the month, though critics warn the move will diminish minority representation.
I think this is a real dark period in our state, in our country's history. We are not post-racial.
Florida lawmakers have already approved a new congressional map. Mississippi and Alabama are also making plans to apply the new ruling. But with potential legal challenges, the impact likely won't be felt until 2028.
It should lead to much more competitive districts in the South, because Republicans used to have an interest in this too, because it would compact Democrat voters into cities and let the suburbs be more Republican.
And it's not just red states. In a post on X, New York Governor Kathy Hochul said she will work with the state legislature to make changes to the redistricting process, adding, quote, so we can fight back against Washington's attempts to rig our democracy. Florida's new map is expected to take effect before the midterms since the primaries here are in August. In Tallahassee, Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News.
After the break, we'll see what Mr. Food is making in the kitchen. Don't go away.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn Stairlift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stairlift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-732-2971 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-732-2971.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
How come whenever we make Chinese food, it never seems to taste like when we order takeout? Well, besides the fact that they often use all sorts of ingredients that we can't find in our everyday supermarket, one of the biggest differences is that Chinese restaurants almost cook everything in a really hot wok. And with a few tricks, we can make ours taste takeout worthy. The first thing we want to do is make sure that our skillet, or better yet, our wok is super hot before adding any ingredients. You see, the benefit to a wok is that it's designed with more surface area so everything cooks quickly. After coating it with some peanut oil, we toss in some slivered garlic and ginger. After that starts to sizzle, we add some strips of beef. Once it's browned, which only takes a minute or so, we add in some snow peas, onions, and red peppers. After about a minute or so, we stir in a mixture of soy sauce, brown sugar, rice vinegar, and cornstarch. Maybe serve it with some quick cooking rice, and dinner's done faster than you could order takeout. So the next time you're craving Chinese food, go online and get the recipe for our 5-minute beef stir fry, now that you know how easy it is. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a more authentic way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Now to an update of a story that we recently brought you about the WVII Community School robotics team who had punched their ticket to a national championship in Houston, Texas. The team landed in Houston this week and is getting ready to go. They got to enter the venue and start their practicing and preparations for the competition, But it hasn't been all business. They've taken in some sightseeing as well. They had the thrilling opportunity to tour NASA's facilities in Houston, a dream come true for any robotics enthusiast. Today, official competition matches will begin. We wish them the very best of luck. When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Find your flavor at Black Sheep Restaurant in Sullivan. Breakfast so good on Tuesdays, even the toast gets a standing ovation. Wednesday to Saturday, we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sundays, we brunch 9 to 1. Black Sheep Restaurant, where the food is bold and the sheep are only slightly judgmental.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Don't take a tiny check for your car wreck. Call the twos.
I got a client who injured their wrist, a big check for $185,000. Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Situated in Jonesboro on the coast of Maine lies Barren View Golf Course, a true links course that's a treat for golfers of all skill levels. We feature a driving range, putting green, practice sand trap, pro shop, and snack bar. Open 7 days a week. Please call ahead for a tee time.
Find your flavor at Black Sheep Restaurant in Sullivan. Breakfast so good on Tuesdays, even the toast gets a standing ovation. Wednesday to Saturday, we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sundays, we brunch 9 to 1. Black Sheep Restaurant, where the food is bold and the sheep are only slightly judgmental.
Now here's your full weather forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. That small craft advisory is still up for the southwestern parts of the state and now lasts until about 8 o'clock later on this evening, right about it here. It has expired further off towards the north and east. These areas still dealing with some higher surf at around 5 feet. Notice further off towards the north and east, it has since improved. Now further out towards sea, around 6 to 8 feet, still being noted further out, and that is courtesy of that area low pressure that is still being observed. So now earlier this morning, we still had some rain showers passing through, but we are seeing improvement now as low pressure continues to move away. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky for the rest of the day. So let's check things out. So as that moves away, we will calm down overnight, but there's more activity on the way with this system tracking off towards the east that will bring more rainfall in our neck of the woods. So this moves out of here. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky for the rest of the day. We'll clear things out overnight. Notice more clouds by Saturday morning. Rain chances for us, some snow farther off towards the north. We'll still see rainfall moving in through Saturday afternoon and even continuing into Saturday evening. And then the rain even continues as we head towards Sunday morning. So I'm going to run the rainfall totals at least through parts of Tuesday. So between now and as we head towards early Wednesday morning, we could be looking at around another ½ inch to even 3/4 of an inch before we're all finished up. And the rainfall has been beneficial. A new drought monitor came out and it's mixed. Other areas in the eastern parts of the state have seen more improvement, while further off towards the west, kind of worsening, at least in coverage, so it's mixed. Of course, between the rainfall recently, next week could be just a bit better, so we'll check things out and see how that goes. But lower 60s today, partly cloudy and breezy, northwest wind at about 20 miles per hour. Overnight, we have low 30s, mostly clear with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then tomorrow, we have low 50s, mostly cloudy, rain showers, and a south wind at around 20 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Rain likely Sunday with highs in the mid 40s, partly cloudy with a chance for rain Monday with highs back in the low 60s, and upper 60s Tuesday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms.
Thank you, Devin. Well, a beloved local celebrity makes waves in San Francisco. Meet Chonkers, a massive sea lion spotted this week lounging around other noticeably smaller California sea lion neighbors. Several gathered at Fisherman's Wharf on Thursday to see the large marine mammal, who experts say belongs to the Steller species, and the adult Steller seal can weigh up to a ton. Marine officials say that they usually live in colder waters off the North Pacific and off the coast of Alaska, but Chonkers has grown a large following among locals and tourists, attracting several admirers and even local artists looking to capture the sea lion's enormity.
Like a Volkswagen, he's so huge. I was like stunned. Yeah, I was out here last night and there was like a bunch of people. He wasn't here and everybody's like, you'll know when you see him. And I was like, will I know? I definitely did.
Marine specialists say that the highly popular sea lion may just be making a rest stop in San Francisco and will be soon heading back to the colder Alaskan waters. Well, that's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thank you for watching. I'm Janessa Bishop. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6.
Step into a story that's funny, touching, and deeply human. Winterport Open Stage presents The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. This unique production blends a series of scenes into a heartfelt look at family and tradition. Performances run May 1st, 2nd, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m., with matinees May 3rd and 10th at 3 p.m. at Samuel Wagner Middle School in Winterport. For tickets, visit winterportopenstage.net or find Winterport Open Stage on Facebook.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The following is a paid program for NeuroQ, brought to you by Life Seasons, a proud supporter